Blue lights flash, they're out of sync. Promises fade, gone in a blink. Wrong place, wrong time. What's the plan? Spinning words, but they don't land. Oh, jellyfish sway. Ooh, yeah. Floating promises drift away. South Africans cry.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Big news out of South Africa today, where South Africa's Minister of Agriculture from the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, has been sacked today at the request of Jordan Hill-Lewis, his successor as the leftist in charge of the Democratic Alliance. And Steenhuisen is out after 2 years of absolute incompetence, ineptitude, arrogance, threats, and just callous conduct. John Steenhuisen is out as Minister of Agriculture. I saw one of the comments on my video posted a short while ago telling me that, well, let's not be, people are based on belittling this man. Belittling, you have no idea who you're talking about. He's an evil, nasty, repulsive human being who does all kinds of things that I could run through the list of egregious offenses he's done, and they're all documented. Shall we talk about Michael Beaumont? Let's start there and go on from there. Shall we talk about other things? And there's things that you don't know that I'm privy to that I have not released as of yet, and I will hold off as not to affect the political situation in South Africa until it's appropriate. Yeah, John Steenhuisen has been booted out as the Minister of Agriculture, and it's long overdue. Just a few months ago, he arrogantly said that he will not be booted out. Remember that? Well, it's good news from a standpoint that he's an idiot and he shouldn't have been in that position. And I gave the man the benefit of the doubt a couple of years ago and said that he is going to find himself in a very difficult position trying to serve two masters. Let me make sure the sound is okay. You cannot be the leader of a political party that is in opposition, that goes into coalition, lead the party and your constituents, and be a member of a cabinet. You answer to two different bosses. You answer to the president as a member of the cabinet, and you answer to the people as leader of a political party. And this inability of John Steenhuisen and his arrogance to see that this was a problem is what led to his downfall. But then that's who he is. He's an arrogant asshat. What is my take on Professor G's video? I have no idea what you're talking about, Pizza Party. That sounds like a refugee question interrupting the news. Please don't do that. I have no idea what that's all about. We've asked people politely not to ask questions about the refugees. Why do people just insist on interrupting my news broadcast? I don't understand that. I do not understand that. On and on and on it goes. All right, this is Night Owls where you can just, chat away. It's, ask me questions about anything. This is the news. We have news to get through, particularly on a Wednesday where I'm starting late because of all the breaking news. I had to make a video about John Steenhuisen. I made a video about Mel and Pete Filion. Pete is back in South Africa. It's okay, Pizza Party. It's okay, but someone had just asked not to do that, okay? Please don't do that. No, his position will be replaced by another nominee. There's no vote for this. These are appointed positions, much like secretaries in the U.S. government. So let's get to the news. Yes, Ian Moon, I'm aware of Pete's arrest, and I've already recorded a video. I was in the process of editing it when we went live. In fact, I'll give you a sneak peek of the edit right now, okay? I'll give you about 30 seconds of the video that I've been working on. Here you go. You ready? All right, so let's see if I can't get this full screen here. That's not what I want. Okay, so this is about 30 seconds of the video that I'm working on already, editing, and I'm working my way through it. It takes a lot of time as a one-person operation to run a news operation, to do analysis, to do video production, and also do my real life, my real job. So I've been making 2 videos this morning and also reviewing the news. So this is what I've got so far, just because you're going to ask this question, and this is the editing process for this video.
You're arresting me?
Well, the saga of Mel and Pete Filion continues in South Africa. The disbarred attorney was arrested at OR Tambo International Airport on his arrival in South Africa Tuesday this week. Now, this arrest comes in connection with an alleged fraudulent sale of Johannesburg Property Company properties that dates back 2010, 16 years. Now, despite their fairy tales to the contrary, this, of course, is the proximate cause of his flight and illegitimate entry into the United States. So that's it. Just a quick second there, quick 30 seconds of what I'm working on. That will be completed later on. Let's get to the story with John Steenhuisen, and then we'll get back to Mel and Pete. We're going to talk about Bafana. We're going to talk about the Bulls. We're going to talk about Donald Trump, about the G7, about many things if we get through them today. So let me rush through this analysis of the news for today, folks, and thank you for your patience with that. I appreciate it. All right, here we go. Just a couple months ago, on the 21st of February, Steenhuisen said it's hogwash. He will be axed as DA as Agriculture Minister. He reaffirmed his focus on combating the foot and mouth disease crisis. Just 2 months ago. It's hogwash and I'll be axed by the DA. But son of a gun, if it wasn't Jordan Hill Lewis who got him axed. Outgoing DA leader John Steenhuisen says absolute hogwash that he will be replaced by the DA as Minister of Agriculture anytime soon. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I consider less than 90 days to be sometime soon. What about you? Do you consider that soon? I consider that soon. Yes, that's what he said a short while ago. But what do we have today? News breaking that Jordan Hill Lewis has asked Ramaphosa to sack Steenhuisen as minister. DA leader Jordan Hill Lewis has asked President Ramaphosa to remove his predecessor from the cabinet. He's being demoted to Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. Parks Towel. He has to work for Parks Towel now. Johnny Boy works for Parks Towel now. Yes, Karma is a nasty bedfellow. Willie Okamp, the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, will replace him in the agricultural portfolio. Oh my goodness. He tried to destroy farmers and he's paying a price. Farmers Weekly, Steenhuisen features Agri Minister uncertain mid reports of DA shuffle. It's not uncertain, it's clear. He is out. He is out. Despite widespread media reports, the proposed reshuffle has not formally been approved or announced by President Ramaphosa, meaning no changes have taken effect. The process remains subject to presidential endorsement. Of course, this came a long time ago. This came about 8 hours ago in South Africa. Lots happened since then. According to reports published in several media outlets, Hill Lewis requested Steenhuisen be removed as Minister of the Department of Agriculture and reassigned. Ramaphosa is positively considering Hill Lewis's cabinet reshuffle. That was at the same time 8 hours ago. A lot has happened in the past 8 hours. In fact, East Coast Radio reports that Steenhuisen has been sacked as agriculture minister. That happened an hour and a half after those reports. The DA has reshuffled its representatives within the Government National Union. Steenhuisen demoted from position as Minister of Agriculture, now serves as Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry, and Competition. He'll be replaced by former Environment Minister Willie Okamp. The reshuffle sees Western Cape Education MEC David Mania appointed as new Environment Minister. Meanwhile, Alexander Abrahams moves from Trade and Industry to become Deputy Minister of Electricity and Energy. Of course, what do any of these people have for qualifications? You go from trade to electricity? What do you know about electricity? I'm not picking on her, but this is just dumb and dumber. And this is what the African governments do. They move incompetence from one ineptitude to the next ineptitude. So Johnny Steenhuisen, the arrogant asshat that he is out. Yes, but we remember John's moves. We remember John's moves, don't we? Yeah, we do. I'll tell you, Johnny Boy's got some great moves. Remember John's moves? Yes. Where's the rest of them out here? Come on, where you at? I know I got it somewhere here. Come on, where's it at? Why is it not showing up here? I had it a little while ago. Let me just type the whole word in there. Maybe I'll find it that way. It's not showing up. I just used this in a video. How come I can't find it? Interesting. Interesting. Huh. I'll just try something else. Wow. I hate Windows search. Windows search sucks. It was so much better before these versions. I mean, you used to be able to get stuff just so easily. Now I can't find squat. I do not understand that. How in the heck is that happening? What the hell? That's bizarre. Anyway, let me try it this way. One more last try. Well, that's not any better. Huh. This is really strange. It's like it's hiding it on me. Yeah, it's been a self-serving for decades. Yep, you're right, Karen. What's baffling is that Johnny Boy is still in Parliament. He hasn't qualified his shoelaces. Never mind anything else. Yep. No, did you guys see my the image I put together on ChatGPT is what I used to make this image. Here you go. So this one's, I think this is pretty good. This was the thumbnail for my video. And we just listed a couple of the faux pas that he's been responsible for, a couple of the poor judgment things. Didn't pay his credit card bills, foot and mouth disease cripples the livestock industry, and poor choices for chief of staff, including Biltong Barbie. Funny how he got sacked after my video on Biltong Barbie. It may just be pure coincidence that John Steenhuisen gets sacked after my Biltong Barbie video yesterday, but isn't that interesting? Was my description of Yana LaRue as Biltong Barbie the last straw? Funny how Jordan Hill Lewis just came out with this after I called her Biltong Barbie. Car guard John. Oh my goodness. Look at Cyril sacked. Look at all his staff so disconsolate. They're putting his pictures in his box to say goodbye to him. Folks, not even 24 hours after my Biltong Barbie video from Georgia, John Steenhuisen is sacked as the Minister of Agriculture. Coincidence or Joe-incidence? Oh, is it unfair to me? Laugh. Well, you don't know anything about him if you think it's unfair for me. Laugh. What I know about the guy, this is more just desserts. Karma is definitely a good bedfellow. Biltong Barbie. Oh, my goodness. Well, the Daily Maverick says the reason he got sacked wasn't because of Biltong Barbie or his credit card fiasco or his ineptitude in dealing with things. It's finally, after 2 years in the devastation livestock industry, it's because of foot and mouth disease. That's what Victoria O'Regan has to say. DA leader Jordan Hill Lewis has asked President Ramaphosa for a massive DA shakeup and seeing John Steenhuisen stripped of his agricultural portfolio. Yep, he's being demoted. Yep. Following a careful assessment, the DA's team and the Government National Union have written to President Ramaphosa setting out several changes to the DA's representation. In my judgment, the renewed team announced today will strengthen the DA's contribution to government and give better effect to the mandate received by 3.5 million voters in 2024 elections, Hill Lewis said. Steenhuisen's removal from the cabinet comes after months of mounting criticism for his handling of South Africa's foot and mouth disease outbreak by farmers and members of the broader agricultural sector. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Jordan Hill Lewis is referring to the 3.5 million voters from 2021 that John Steenhuisen got for his party. Of course, that's down from Musi Maimani's 3.6.5 million in 2019 and down from 4,004,000 that Helen Zille reached at the zenith when this was a real party before it became an embarrassment in South Africa. Willie Okamp, stars on the rise. Not a surprise. DA leader Jordan Hill Lewis has asked Ramaphosa to move Willie Okamp from environment to agriculture. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see what happens there. DA leaders apparently are upset that Helen has gone off the reservation talking to March and March. Why? Why can't she talk to March and March? Former DA leader Helen Zille's decision to meet with March and March has drawn criticism from her party, with senior leaders saying she was sacked. She lacked permission to do so. Zille says she told Jordan Hill Lewis about the meeting and did not need permission. She cautioned March and March leader Jacinta Nkubisi Zuma that renewed violence against foreigners would be disastrous for South Africa. According to News 24, senior DA leaders are fuming after the party's mayoral candidate for the city of Johannesburg, Helen Zille, met with anti-immigrant group March and March. Jacinta Nkubisi Zuma approached me through one of our counselors with a request to meet with me. I considered carefully, and after conversation with several colleagues, I agreed to have a conversation and state the DA's point of view unambiguously, which I did. So what's the problem? Why does the DA... So the DA does things it should be doing, like traveling to Israel, going to the United States, and now meeting with these idiots to make sure that they don't go off the reservation and kill people. They do appropriate things, and people in the DA have problems with that. They dumped Andrew Whitfield and Emma Powell for doing what the party sent them to do because they're political cowards. And now Helen Zille takes a reasonable approach to deal with retards, and they are upset about that. The DA, what is wrong with the DA? Is it a political party or is it a vanity project? I'm not sure which it is. Well, big news at OR Tambo, where on Tuesday, the Hawks arrested Pete Filionen when he arrived in South Africa. Disbarred attorney and alleged shoplifter Pete Filionen was arrested by the Hawks after touching down OR Tambo on Tuesday night after being deported from the United States. The arrest stems from selling of properties in May of 2010 to unsuspecting purchasers who were defrauded. And the Johannesburg Property Organization apparently did not get its money. So Pete has been arrested, and this is obvious. Wait till the captured South African Human Rights Commission gets a hold of Pete. Oh, they'll be coming for Pete soon, too. Yeah, there's pictures circulating on social media of Pete looking a little thin and gaunt. Maybe I, need his diet. Of course, his diet was, puppy food in prison, according to Mel. But, whoops, that's not it. That's not what we want there. Wrong button. Here we go. There you go. There's pictures of Pete arriving, wearing sunglasses and a tracksuit, carrying his belongings. The man who deigns to act in such a ridiculous fashion in his behavior. But there's Pete. He made his way back. There you go. Welcome back to South Africa, buddy. I don't think it's going to go very well for you after all the racist things you said. You called them racist. You said you were a racist. Kustrek, you ran into Helen Zille. You should have asked her why she wouldn't do an interview with Colonel Chris Wyatt. She's promised me for 6 years to do an interview, and it's still not happening. The new token white minister will be Willie Okamp. Willie Okamp. Yep. He is the new token white minister of agriculture. Yep. There you have it. So Pete's been arrested at the airport. Oh, what a tragedy. What a tragedy. Poor Pete. Poor Pete thought he had himself a good time, Alligator Alcatraz. Here they are, the plastic couple themselves. Look at those nails. Disgraced lawyer Pete Filionen has been arrested just months after he landed at the OR Tambo International Airport on Tuesday. According to police, he faces charges dating back to 2010. A 57-year-old suspect is expected to appear before the Pretoria Specialized Commercial Crimes Court following his arrest by members of the Hawks Serious Commercial Crime Investigation at OR Tambo International Airport on Tuesday, June 16th. The arrest follows an extensive investigation and allegations relating to the fraudulent sale of properties belonging to the Johannesburg Property Company, an entity wholly owned by the city of Johannesburg. Filionen and his wife, Mel, of the Real Housewives of Pretoria, were arrested in the U.S. for allegedly shoplifting. Yes, and then put out on bail and arrested immediately by Immigration Customs Enforcement, the plastic couple. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mel and Pete Filionen. Protesters are marching at Sea Point in Cape Town, calling for stricter immigration enforcement. This is getting out of hand, folks. Dozens of demonstrators affiliated with the March and March movement marched through Sea Point on Tuesday, calling for stronger government action on illegal immigration and tighter border controls. They gathered in Fort Road before proceeding along Beach Road, turning into St. John's, then Main Road, and continued towards Glen Garriff Road, where the march concluded at the Mandela Grasses landmark, according to Cape Argus. We're here today to march against the influx of unauthorized immigrants in South Africa. We know the impact of these foreigners in our country, from drugs in our communities to Ethiopians and the Somalians who've taken over the spaza shop business. It's hard for South Africans to open that business because they are like a cartel at this point. So ask yourself this question. How is it that Somalis and Ethiopians can enter the country, open a spaza shop and a tuck shop and be successful? It's because South Africans are useless and lazy. The ones who are complaining, they're useless and lazy. They could have opened these businesses. Why didn't they? Those Ethiopian Somalis came with nothing on the clothes on their back, and they managed to open a business. They saved their money, their resources, instead of taking tick and drinking Casa Lager all day long and reproducing, in the evenings. They actually did something substantive with their life. Stranded, scared, and waiting for home. Thousands, now it's over 8,000 Malawians in Durban at this camp, seeking safety outside a suburban hall in Durban. Over 8,000. Salome Mtawali's voice cut through the chatter of hundreds of women minding children. She spent hours writing the names of fellow Malawian women, 1,248 by 327 on last week, who had arrived with their meager possessions. But now we're up to over 8,000. They came with machetes. The deadline looms for migrants to leave South Africa. Illegals, mind you. South Africa has become a hostile place for undocumented migrants as a deadline. Those are criminal alien invaders, by the way. A deadline set by protesters to them leave the country approaches. I'm very scared and traumatized, says Esnat Joseph, a 36-year-old Malawian woman. She fled her home in an informal settlement in Durban, seeking refuge in open field where up to 7,000. Now over 8,000 Malawians have congregated. 1,500 of them are repatriated already. Look at the mess they're leaving behind. More than 1,500 Malawians have been transported back to their home country, while thousands of others continue to assemble at Sherwood Community Hall in Durban with the hopes of being repatriated before they're murdered by xenophobic, Afrophobic, racist black South Africans. Malawi's government is seeking donations to repatriate those nationals, begging for money. Wow. Malawian government is appealing for donations to help repatriate about 10,000 citizens stranded in South Africa amid rising anti-illegal immigrant tensions. So here's my point. They got into the country illegally. They can get out illegally. Why does Malawi have to pay to take these people out? Why does Malawi have to pay to take these people out? So Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, at least 5 African countries are getting their citizens out of South Africa over the threat of murder, violence, and mayhem by thugs who are threatening foreign nationals and white South Africans. Ask yourself this question. Cyril Ramaphosa, years later, finally steps up the mic and says illegal immigration is not the cause of South Africa's social and economic difficulties. And I agree 100% with Cyril Ramaphosa. Illegal immigration is not the root of South Africa's problems. And it's not Jan van Riebeck, and it's not apartheid. It's the ANC. It's the ANC. Yep. Jacob Zuma is blaming the ANC for black poverty, and he's right. Former president focused on race and attack on current party leadership. Addressing a Youth Day crowd at the Minier Sports Ground in Ermelo, Zuma launched an attack on the current ANC leadership, blaming them for black poverty and accusing them of merging with white interests. Oh, he's got to play racist. Dude, you are part of the reason why they're so poor. You thieving prick. You thieving prick. Stealing all that money in Conla, the arms deal. Its current leaders not understand the ANC's mission. They have merged with white people. They are now one and have forgotten about us. We remain in poverty. You remain in poverty. Jacob Zuma remains in poverty. Jacob Zuma remains in poverty. Are you serious? Are you serious? You don't speak for black South Africans, you arrogant prick. You don't speak for them. Oh my goodness. If you hadn't stole $7 billion in the arms deal, if you hadn't stole money from Conla, if you hadn't stole money through the connections with the Guptas, South Africa would never be this situation. Oh my goodness. You blame the ANC? You are the ANC. But the problem is you can't handle the truth, Jacob Zuma. Oh my goodness. He's got brain rot. A rhino horn trafficker, Davi Groenewald, is finally fined 2 million rand after a 16-year lawsuit. Davi Groenewald expected to be sentenced to 4 years in prison on a 2 million fine, according to plea agreement. One of his co-accused, Tielman Erasmus, will plead guilty in exchange for a sentence of 100,000 fine or 6 months in jail. Wow. 16 years after the spectacular arrest of notorious game farmer, hunting outfitter, and rhino horn trafficker Davi Groenewald, one of South Africa's longest-running wildlife crime prosecutions grinds to a halt this week, with him expected to plead guilty to hundreds of counts of racketeering, money laundering, fraud, and defeating the ends of justice. The 58-year-old Groenewald, a former police officer turned safari operator, is expected to pay a 2 million rand fine or serve 4 years in prison. Additional 36 months in prison and fines totaling 10 million will be suspended for 5 years, provided he does not contravene environmental laws. So he is going to avoid a 4-year prison sentence for the destruction of the natural environment of South Africa. Really? He can avoid it by simply paying 2 million rand? That's insane. So for the grand total of $117,000, which I'm sure he made more than that on rhino horn, he will be able to escape prison. Well, that's not justice, ladies and gentlemen. That is not justice. 16 years. He hasn't missed a beat. 1,200 rand a crate. The sardine run is taking place along the coast of KZN. It's back. The annual sardine run gathering momentum on the KZN coastline, with fresh shoals netted at Pumela and Umzumba as the famous migration continues its journey north. And it looks like they're just stripping the ocean of its resources. Look at that. Look at all those sardines gathered up there. Wow. Lots of sardines, if you like sardines. The Bulls have named 11 Springboks for the URC final. Wow. Bulls head coach Johan Ackerman selected a Springbok-laden side to contest the URC championship final against Leinster at Croke Park in 2 days' time. Double World Cup winner Willie Leroux starts at fullback, orchestrating with Kurtley Arendse in the right wing and Keenan Moody in the outside center. Forster joins Moody in inside center, while Ambrose Papier and Henri Pollard will dictate play as halfback combination. In the back, we've got Gerhard Steenekamp, Johan Gerbela, and Francois Klopper. Second row includes Rowan Nortkia, Rowan Vermaak, and the captain Marcel Coetzee with Elric Lowe and Cameron Hannekam. Not Derek. Cameron Hannekam in the back row. There you go. On the bench is Eskom, Marco van Staden, Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Wilco Low, Kobus Visa, Zach Berger, and Stedman Gans. The Bulls have won 5 off the trot to get to where they are. Leinster lost a game against Bordeaux in the Champions Cup. So there you have it, folks. This will be at 7:30 IST. That'll be South Africa's 8:30 South African time on Friday. Andrea Piardi from Italy is the official, with Adam Jones and Ben Breckspear on the sidelines, and from Wales, and Matteo Di Perini from Italy is the TMO. Looking forward to that one. Well, South Africa's Bafana has to take back to the pitch, whether they want to or not, after their embarrassing debacle in the first round. After losing their opening group matches, both teams, both the Czech Republic and South Africa, need a victory to keep their playoff hopes alive. This is it. The Bafana's entire FIFA World Cup experience comes down to this game. Should they lose this game, it's over. There's no chance they'll make it if they lose this game. They must win this game outright and score a bunch of goals. This game will be played Thursday at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. That'll be Thursday morning, my time, tomorrow morning. The match is in Atlanta. Well, that's where I just came from. Bafana's only match in Atlanta. Good luck to them. We'll see what happens. The boys will probably let us down. Namibia has lifted its interest rate and forecasts worse inflation. Inflation quickened to a 4.1% year-on-year rate from May, where it was 3.81% back in April. Yep. Namibia's central bank has raised the interest rate for the first time in 3 years on Wednesday after revising inflation figures upwards. So the Bank of Namibia raised its repo rate by 25 basis points to 6 3/4. Well, things are not looking so bright in Namibia economically. Israel has launched airstrikes into Lebanon, even as Iran and the U.S. are set to sign a bogus peace deal on Friday. There's been a reduction in violence since the U.S.-Iran agreement was announced, but attacks on Lebanese territory have not stopped, and that's, according to the Iranians, part of the deal. Iran must have guarantees that Lebanon won't be attacked for their proxies being protected there, but apparently it's not happening. Iran gets economic relief, and the war ends across the Middle East. According to a leaked draft of the peace deal, the U.S. and its partners will ensure $300 billion in financing mechanism Well, this is not going to go well for Trump if Iran is given $300 billion to rebuild their theocracy and their terror state. Trump reiterated the U.S. will not give 10 cents to Iran. People can decide to do that. It's up to them. Well, we'll see if the money flows to Iran. Oppressed is what the Iranian team says about their football team. Iran coach Amir Khalilawi called his team perhaps the most oppressed team in the whole World Cup. Gee, I wonder why. You murdered 30,000 people just a few months ago. After he said Iran had been forced to leave Los Angeles and return to their training camp in Tijuana immediately after the opening match. Good. You're lucky we even let you in the country. You're lucky we even let you participate in this event, Iran. And you're going to whine about being oppressed. You're not oppressed. You are an oppressive terror state. Japan experienced an earthquake overnight directly adjacent to Tokyo, 5.5 magnitude. These tremors are not good. There's the impact. 5.5 magnitude on the Richter scale. Places I've been: Tokyo, Yokohama, Shizuoka. Wow. Japan on the Ring of Fire. Jeremy Clarkson, the British TV host, has announced that he has cancer. The 66-year-old gave very few details about his diagnosis, but said the disease was aggressive. This is sad news for fans of Clarkson's Farm. Jeremy Clarkson, a British TV personality and former host of the BBC show Top Gear, said he had aggressive cancer in his latest episodes of the documentary series Clarkson's Farm. He first announced a diagnosis in a scene in which he was discussing his harvesting schedule with Caleb Cooper and Charlie Ireland, two regulars on the show. I had a biopsy done the other week, and it's cancer. It's aggressive, but it's really early. Wow. He's known about the diagnosis since May of last year. Jeremy Clarkson, cancer. Well, thank you, Bitter Ender. When are you coming to visit South Africa? Well, I don't announce when I'm coming, Bitter Ender, because of threats. It's not safe to do that. Russian warship was reckless, not sinister, in firing shots at a yacht in English Channel, according to Keir Starmer. The yacht, which is being sailed by a retired British couple, reported several shots, which Russians say were warnings to avoid a collision. Really? Prime Minister Keir Starmer said a Russian warship was reckless but not sinister in firing warning shots at a yacht steered by pensioners in the English Channel. Russian officials contend the shots were fired to avert a collision. Why don't you sound horns? The 40-foot British flag vessel named Bright Future and owned by Jane and Alvin Kelvey reported on Tuesday morning that the Admiral Grigorovich fired 4 or 5 shots as they attempted to sail past, sparking a diplomatic incident. They were crossing English Channel to Cherbourg in France, and they received no radio contact from Russians, and the no warning flares were fired, or horns or sounds. What the hell's going on here? Russians firing in the English Channel at ships at sea. Tomorrow, or today, today I believe, a French court will seek to imprison a young lady who was sexually assaulted by a Tunisian scumbag criminal alien invader into France. And they term her an extreme right-winger because her views are that she's simply telling the truth. So this appears on X, and this is not her real name. This is her pseudonym, Thais de Escoufon. So she made this video, and she's asked the world to share it so they know how they're persecuting their own citizens, and they don't have rights. This is the same thing happening in the UK, in Australia, and Canada. Let's listen in to what she has to say.
Hello, dear European and American patriots. I need your help. Tomorrow, I may be sentenced to unsuspended prison for daring to say on French TV that the main danger to women in France comes from black African and Arab immigrant men, even though I was defending a woman who was herself raped by a Central African man subject to an OQTF order in the courtyard of her Paris apartment building. Having myself survived an attempted rape by a Tunisian migrant 4 years ago, I could not remain silent. But for having spoken these words on a television set, the prosecutor has sought a prison sentence against me. She dismissed our 2 stories as insignificant incidents which did not excuse my hate speech. Yet, all I did was describe a reality that most French people are afraid to speak about, precisely because the justice system is capable of convicting them for describing what they see with their own eyes and experience firsthand. This is the repression faced by people in France who speak the truth out loud. But thanks to you, I have hope ahead of the verdict, which will be handed down tomorrow. Just yesterday, I was still hesitating to publish my story, thinking nobody would notice, and it has now spread beyond our borders. And thanks to this media pressure, the justice system may back down before trying to send me to prison instead of our attackers. Please share this message. We are no longer afraid. We are not alone. The French people are not giving in and are standing strong. Thank you.
Yeah, and for her troubles, she's described as extreme right-winger, upset that she was nearly raped by a man from North Africa, and a woman was raped by a black man from Central Africa. And they call them right-wing for telling the truth. Now, there's more to her story, but yeah, this is a horrific situation. I went to make sure I had her account, and this was recent, but that judgment is today. And they will put her in prison. Their intent is to put this young lady in prison as a felon, a criminal, for hate speech. When a government has to create a category called hate speech, you know that it's fraudulent. Speech is a human right. It's a natural right. It's a God-given right. Now, if you defame or slander someone, that's a very different situation. But simply telling the truth about the actions of a rapist will get you put in prison? It's sickening. I have this image. Let me see if I can find it. Did I save it on my phone? I might have saved it on my phone. Yeah, I think I saved it on my phone. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. But I have this image of the number. It was on X, and it might have been by Elon Musk who posted, so I was trying to check the efficacy of it, or the provenance, the origin of it. But apparently over 12,000 people are in prison in the United Kingdom for social media comments. That is thousands more than even communist China has in prison for social media. The United Kingdom is a corrupt society. France is a corrupt society. Germany is a corrupt society. There's a German woman in prison now for exposing the gang rape of a prepubescent German girl by a gang of thugs who were illegal immigrants, and they put her in prison for hate speech for 4 years. She's serving in prison now. 4 years. It's sick. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, in the communist regime of Brazil, the top court convicts the son of former President Bolsonaro for coercion. Coercion. Brazil's Supreme Court convicted former lawmaker Eduardo Bolsonaro on Tuesday for coercion related to the trial that last year sentenced his father to 27 years in prison for a coup attempt. Of course, Jair Bolsonaro never tried a coup. That's a lie. He won an election, and it was stolen by Lula. The court sentenced him to 4 years and 2 months in prison. All five justices considering the case said he illegally interfered by lobbying the U.S. government to threaten Brazilian officials to stop the trial. Wow. Well, they are really going out of their way to piss off Trump. They really are going out of their way to piss off Trump. Not a wise move, to say the very least. Well, North America's FIFA World Cup is a very different look, a very different feel. Well, no surprise. It's in 3 different countries. What do they expect? Mexico is not America. America is not Canada. The U.S., Mexico, and Canada have different mascots, marketing campaigns, and policies for fans at a politically tense time. Yet the Wall Street Journal is surprised by this. This year's World Cup is pitched up as a showcase for North America's collective ambition. Chance for U.S., Mexico, and Canada to pull off a first-of-its-kind event across 2 borders, showcasing their long-standing trade and cultural ties. Instead, this edition of World Cup's most popular sporting event has highlighted the current tensions between the host countries at one of the most turbulent moments in the relationship. Only for people who are whining about it. I'm not even paying attention. I saw the game played in Mexico City. Bafana. It was embarrassing. I didn't really care it was Mexico City. Saw the game played in Toronto. Didn't really care it was played in Toronto. It's a World Cup. Oil prices are falling as traders assess the U.S.-Iran deal, which I think is a bogus deal. Oil prices fell further yesterday, extending debt declines spurred by the United States. Oil is now trading at less than it cost before Trump went into Iran. Put that in your pipe and somebody smoke it. Oil is lower now than it was when Trump went into Iran. And it's summertime, the highest consumption time. And our oil stocks are at record lows. Record lows, yet the price of oil has dropped, showing you that speculation is a prime driver of the cost of energy. Oil falls below $80 as OECD oil reserves drop to the lowest level since 1990. 1990, ladies and gentlemen. Oil prices fell below $80 a barrel as markets grew increasingly confident that the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz was coming to an end. Wow. $80 a barrel. Ladies and gentlemen, the price of oil was $79 when Trump began attacking Iran over 3 months ago. Yet they keep going on and on about the price of oil. Bad news for Canadians. A staple of Canadian television, Hockey Night in Canada, is over. The long-time over-the-air telecast will no longer be free after the national broadcaster and Rogers Sportsnet's, the NHL's rights holder, could not agree on a sub-licensing deal. That's it. A mainstay of Canada for decades is gone. Canada's national broadcaster, this is what happens when governments control broadcasting, will no longer air National Hockey League games on Saturday nights. A first in about 75 years, ending a cultural institution and for many Canadians, a national treasure. For me too. I always love Hockey Night in Canada. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, which first aired Hockey Night in Canada in 1931 as a radio broadcast, and Rogers Sportsnet, the NHL rights holder, could not come to terms on a sublicensing deal. Watching hockey on Saturday night is a time-honored tradition for Canadians, and Sportsnet is privileged to continue delivering that tradition. Hockey Night in Canada debuted on television in 1952 and has been the country's longest-running telecast, airing Canada's national sport and obsession as appointment viewing on Saturday nights. Wow. Unbelievable. Hockey Night in Canada is over. That's an institution. Even Americans know about Hockey Night in Canada. Trump says U.S. will not invest any money in the Iran Reconstruction Fund. There shouldn't be an Iran Reconstruction Fund. They should have to go begging for money. 4 takeaways, according to the Washington Post, from the primaries in Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma. Most of Trump's backed candidates won, but his candidate for governor lost to a wealthy person. Trump's gubernatorial pick for Georgia, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who was also backed by the current governor, lost to billionaire health executive Rick Jackson. Last gasp endorsement for the president helped Representative Mike Collins secure the Republican nomination for a pivotal Senate seat. He'll compete with John Ossoff. That guy needs to go. Yeah, so there you go. There you go. Collins advanced a critical race, winning by over 10 points, 11 points over Derek Dooley. But billionaire governor won his race in a tight one by about 35,000 votes. Trump endorsed candidate advances in Alabama. Surprise, surprise, not. And that's a big margin there. Another 11-point victory for Trump-favored candidates. Trump has been cleaning up all over the country. His candidates have been winning race after race after race. Those who bought SpaceX stock when it came out at $135 or right immediately after it and then sold it are kicking themselves in the bum because the price of the stock has risen. SpaceX stock has climbed about 50% and the flippers are kicking themselves. The rocket and satellite company's market cap surpassed Amazon in its first few days of trading. SpaceX shares have surged only 50% in their first days of trading and left a trail of remorseful traders in their wake. After climbing an additional 4% in Tuesday's session, SpaceX ended the day as the world's 5th largest public company by market cap, surpassing Amazon. The gains came as SpaceX announced a deal to buy AI coding startup Cursor for $60 billion. Alan Tran, founder of the investing community Haiku Trading, thought he had done pretty well for himself buying and selling SpaceX shares on Friday after they began trading. He made a small 5-figure return, a pretty decent day, he thought. Now the 28-year-old is kicking himself for trying to trade the stock rather than just holding on for the shares. He estimates he's missed out on $60,000 in gains. Well, too bad for you, loser. Too bad for you, loser. That's what you get when you speculate. Well, Americans' 401k balances are at record levels. Why does this keep doing that? At record levels. This is under Trump. The majority of 401k retirement assets are invested in stocks, which made 2025 a very good year for most workplace retirement savers, according to Vanguard's latest How America Saves report. Average balances hit record levels, up nearly $20,000 over the previous year to $167,970 is the average 401k plan. Remember, a lot of people are entering the workforce and just starting to put money in the 401k plan. Others have worked for 30 or 40 years putting money in there, and therefore you balance out. At $167,000, Americans have record retirement savings, despite the lies of the media. Louis George takes substantial early lead in the mayoral primary. This radical social retard is now in the lead in D.C. Wow. The elections board put the Democratic Socialist ahead of fellow frontrunner Kenyon McDuffie by double digits. Janice Louis George, who took an early and sizable in D.C.'s Democratic mayoral primary based on preliminary vote tallies, it's crazy. So a Democratic Socialist like Moran Zamdami. So this one here, she has a huge lead. Huge lead. Wow. 16-point lead. No chance of coming back from this. No chance coming back from this. So it looks like another Moran Zamdami will be the mayor of D.C. because Democrats always win there. Well, the Pentagon has restored the name of Pacific Command, PACOM, after the silly renaming in 2018 to Indo-Pacific Command, Indo-PACOM. Yes, vodka monocle, I'm not getting sick. I am sick. I've already announced that over a day ago. The 2018 name change was intended, and once again, even though I'm sick, I'm here broadcasting and bringing analysis to the audience. My dedication is epic. The 2018 name change was intended to reflect the growing importance of India and the Indian Ocean for the U.S. military strategy, but we've rebranded it back to what it was known for nearly 7 decades, PACOM. PACOM is back, and this is the area they have responsibility for around the globe. All the water that's in that space, as well as the terrestrial space. Indo-PACOM, based in Hawaii, is responsible for that territory. There you go. Hillary Clinton said that it was a terrible mistake for Joe Biden to run for president. You think? Virtually anybody else who won the Democratic nomination could have beaten Donald Trump, she said. This woman is delusional. Well, that chicken wing on her arm there, man. She's getting up there in years. Former Secretary of State and known suspected criminal, Hillary Clinton said Tuesday President Joe Biden made a terrible mistake running for re-election. That virtually anybody else would have beaten Donald Trump. Well, Kamala Harris didn't beat him. Clinton's comments during an interview in New York with the New Yorker editor David Remnick came on the heels of last month's release of Democratic Party's autopsy of Kamala Harris's failed campaign. He made a terrible mistake for himself, his legacy, and for the country. Well, you made a terrible mistake in your arrogance. You're another asshat that needs to be forgotten by history. We'd asked Vince Foster about it, but he's not around to tell us what's happening with you. So, too bad about that. All right, minimum price for stock, SpaceX is $20,000 if you can't buy for South Africa. No, that's not true, Cool Beans. You could have bought one share through Robinhood and many other things. You could have bought fractional shares. No, people could buy shares. Yep. That's no chicken wing, it's a claw. No, you could have bought shares. I could have bought shares, but I didn't get my order in time, and I missed out from Charles Schwab. So, but Charles Schwab required you to have a certain amount in your account. Robinhood didn't require it. So, no, it was available to everybody. Yeah, but you're in South Africa, Cool Beans. You're in South Africa. Yeah, DC will go back from the paradise that's becoming under Trump to a disaster under a socialist. Yep. Not subscribed this month, a bit late today. Jacques DeBlanche, not subscribed to what? You are subscribed or you would be commenting. What do you mean you're not subscribed? I'm lost. Only subscribers can comment on my program. You must be a subscriber. Need someone to buy me t-shirts, but sadly they got bought up before I could organize anything. Quickly go buy SpaceX and see how. Well, let's see. Yeah. Let me see what's going on. SpaceX, SPCX. Let's see what's going on with the price today. 196. It's dropped back down. It went back to 210. So it's 196. I was looking at 170, maybe buying a share. Let's wait for it to go back down a little bit. So here's the 5-day. Yeah, here you go. Let's look at that. So here's the 5-day price of SpaceX. It came out at 135, and it went up to over 200. It peaked at 218. And now it's back down to 190, back to 196. So we'll see what happens. 196.72. Gained 34 over the past 5 days, which is the length of its trading this week. So we'll see what happens there. Joe has SpaceX stock. I don't. Fuel price will come down just before the elections. Well, that's because they control the prices in South Africa. They're not dictated by the market. Good morning. I was in time for a good morning, Colonel. Family, beautiful. Welcome, Second Chance, to Oklahoma City. Welcome to America. Yeah, people's mouths tend to affect the price of oil. Yeah, well, that's why the world economy slid into recession, because Joe Biden in his mouth affected oil futures. And Cool Beans says we'll still pay at the pump. You are correct, Cool Beans. Liz Kendall, Secretary of State for Science, is bringing in censorship laws in times of crisis. Secretary of State for Science where? In Australia? Johan, it's sad how people are being persecuted and then she's still being accused and judged guilty. Yep. Testifying the truth is hate speech. Exactly. It was in Germany. It is in the UK. It is in France. Well, it was here too on YouTube. I simply played Anthony Fauci lying to the world, and my channel was taken away 5 years ago. YouTube took my channel away for simply showing footage of Dr. Fauci lying to the world. It was Dr. Fauci lying, not me. This is disturbing. This is purported Malawians who are raising a ruckus, and the cops are standing around doing nothing, demanding they be deported. Well, I'll deport them. guarantee you one thing. I guarantee you one thing, if this had been the apartheid era with a couple whiteys mixed in with the colored and black police there, I guarantee you one thing, that would have dispersed a lot quicker than that. Yeah, can I give anyone a lift to the airport? Yeah, that can be, yeah. It's just a lot scarier than people realize. I'm in the process of making an updated video about June 30th after I finished the Pete Fillon arrest one. Yeah, the police are outnumbered by far, but that's because of the ineptitude of the police. But, I mean, you can't blame them. The leaders apparently are almost all criminals, and they're all being uncovered by the Schlunga Commission. Yep. You're welcome, Hester, for the stream. Mob mentality is very dangerous. You got to love the face snap, exactly. Lulu's saying where are the likes at? Okay. Incident erupted into people throwing glass and wood branches. A video of them going mad, says Cool Beans. What a mess, yet. Oh, I've updated the U.S. refugee map, Meerkat. I already did that. I did have a few moments for that. So here's the U.S. refugee map. These are the visits. So I added this weekend Atlanta and Monroe, Georgia, Greenville, South Carolina, and Spartanburg, South Carolina. So 4 more pins went on there today. So I've got a little arc here in the South plus Florida. So there you go. That's all the places I visit around the country where refugees are located. So hopefully in September I'll be adding Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Iowa. This arc up here. Hopefully I'll be adding that this September. We'll see. Time will tell. We've got some time for that to happen, but that's not happening yet. All right, let me go see if Ronaldo has sent me a link for it. There he has. Okay, it's time for me to wrap up then. I need to just make sure that folks get redirected to Ronaldo, though. I appreciate you going over there. So let me just check on this. But John Steenhuisen is out, ladies and gentlemen, as the Minister of Agriculture. And despite his fairy tales that he would never be out, okay. Why is Ronaldo not showing up here? Wow, that's annoying. I had to look long and hard to find Ronaldo. YouTube even hide him when I do a search by his name. That is bizarre, to say the very least. Right, it's time to say goodbye to this broadcast, and we'll see you on Ronaldo in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us today, folks. Be sure to hit the like button. Watch my John Steenhuisen sack video, please, and share it as wide and far as you can. Also, be prepared for a couple hours from now to see a Pete arrest video coming up. I'll work on the other video later today, but I've got lots that I've got to run around and do. It's my Wednesday, always busy. All right, cheers, everyone. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you later. Be sure to hit the like button.